Always great catching up with my next guest, Jack the Joker Hermansson, who's coming off a really nice win over Edmen Shahbazyan back on May 22nd. Jack, how's it going? How's quarantine life?
It's good. It's good. You know, could have been better. It's my birthday today, so.
Oh, is it really? Happy birthday!
Thank you. To celebrate in quarantine is not the best place, but you know, I will order some cake here to the hotel.
There you go. And I should mention you are in quarantine because of a fishing trip, right? That you're going on, or you already went on. I was trying to remember.
Yeah, I already was on a fishing trip, so I'm traveling back to Norway, so I have to be quarantined when I get into the country again.
How was the fishing trip? I saw that one photo you had on your Instagram. It got a pretty big fish there. It sounded like things went well.
Definitely, it was a great trip. Very happy with it. So you know, but I look forward to get back home and get back into business and start training again.
We'll talk some fishing stuff at the end because there is something I did want to ask you about that. But we got UFC 263 coming up here this weekend at the time we're recording this. A fight that I'm sure is very much of interest to you in the main event with Israel Adesanya defending his title against Marvin Vettori, someone that you fought. First, just your thoughts on Marvin getting the title shot with, it seemed like the UFC wanted Israel to fight right away. Whitaker's not ready to go because he fought Calvin Gastelum. Just your thoughts on Marvin getting the title shot.
Yeah, that's all right. You know, I feel like in this division, everybody's fighting each other and everybody's losing and winning up and down. And there's not, besides from Whitaker, there is not that one person that, you know, really stands out. So, yeah, Marvin comes from a good win and he can have the title shot for sure.
In terms of the rematch, a lot of people are making, sort of talking about the fact that Israel lost his last fight, that Jan Blachowicz able to get him to the ground. Do you think Marvin has the ability to do that in this fight, or do you think Izzy has good enough takedown defense?
I do believe that it's going to be hard to take Izzy down, especially early in the fight. But the more Marvin can do it, the more it plays into his favor. But the main thing is that it's a 5-rounder, and I believe that Marvin is one of the guys with the best conditioning in the division, and he will be able to. You know, he's very durable. He can take it to some punishment, and he can keep on pushing. And in their last fight, there was in the 3rd round where Marvin starts to get his thing going, and if he can do the same this time and also win a 4th and 5th round, I can see Marvin take it by a decision.
Interesting. So you're picking Marvin this weekend?
No, I'm not picking him, but I give him a chance.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, so you're just saying this is the way you could see him winning the fight, is what you're saying.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. But you know, Izzy is still undefeated in middleweight, so you gotta keep him as a favorite.
Yes. How do you think the fight will play out? Like just looking at it just as an outsider.
It's gonna be, you know, in the beginning, it's gonna be hard to reach Izzy. He's gonna keep his distance. He's gonna work his feints, and he's very accurate. So Marvin is probably going to, you know, have to take some punishment. And when he keeps on pushing and Izzy slows down, I think that's going to even out the game eventually.
And the other thing that we've seen sort of leading up to this is the trash talk, right? I'm sure you saw the back and forth on video that they had a little while ago. They spoke to each other at the hotel. Izzy's very good at trash talking. Marvin seems very good as well. Do you think Izzy might be able to get into Marvin's head a little bit with that? Or do you think Marvin's pretty calm and collected? Because obviously there's no trash talk in your fight. You guys are pretty civil.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Maybe they can get a little bit irritated on each other outside of the ring. But I do believe that when they are inside of the ring, it's business as usual. They know what they're going to do and they're going to try their best. So I don't think it's going to affect the fight too much.
And last thing, sort of on the fight, what do you make of, it doesn't seem like it's certain that Robert Whitaker is going to get the winner of this fight. What are your thoughts on him, potentially not getting to fight next?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's fair. I think he deserves the title shot, and he deserves the time off that he's taking now as well. So, yeah, if he can get it, I'm happy for him. If not, I would like to fight him.
Yes, I was going to mention that as well. I know you are willing to offer your services in case exactly. He has to fight someone else. So there you go. Let's talk about your win. Great performance over a really tough up and comer in Edmen Shahbazyan. I know you weren't happy with the first round, but overall, were you happy to get the win over a guy that looked like on the path to becoming sort of the next big thing, and now he's lost 2 in a row?
Yeah, I'm especially happy since the circumstances with me having COVID and so on. That was not the perfect situation, to coming up to a fight. So I was happy with the win, but I definitely has a few things that I need to fix because that was far from a perfect performance. But
yeah. I was going to ask in that first round, did you feel like it took you a bit to get going because of COVID? Like I know we've heard some fighters say that they've had lung issues. Did you feel any of the effects of that in the cage?
Yeah, I probably did, but and also it's a little bit mentally, you're a little bit. Usually, I like to start hard and keep a high pace, and I was aware that now I can't push as much in this fight, so maybe that played into it a little bit. And Edmen is also very good, and he hit me with his jab pretty early, and I started to bite on his feints, and it was hard to find the rhythm in the fight. But then I was just like, I just had to push through and get my wheel through in the fight.
Were you worried at all after that first round, or did you feel pretty confident you were going to be able to turn the tide? Because I think most people watching, and you said so yourself, felt like Edmen won that first round.
Yeah, he won the first round for sure, and I just knew that I needed to do something different. And as soon as I get things to the ground, I know that I have the upper hand. So if I could make that happen, I knew that the fight was gonna turn around.
What about Edmen himself? Was there anything in the fight that you weren't expecting that maybe you brought to the table in that fight?
He's really good. He is especially good at not giving a tell. When he's gonna punch. It just comes from nowhere. So he's a really, really schooled striker, and probably one of the best in the division, I would say. So I would really look forward to see him against some other strikers. Darren Till or something. That would be a great matchup to see how that goes.
Yeah, there's a lot of activity going on in your division. You mentioned getting back from the fishing trip. Ideally, when would you like to have your next fight if you could pick and choose?
Yeah, I would like to have a period of some good physical training, strength training, and to develop my game and to just become a better fighter before I step in again. So I would prefer to fight in the end of the year again.
So end of the year, are we talking like winter time or the fall? Like, are you thinking like November if we're going sort of in the middle there? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
If I can choose, definitely. But it also, it depends on who they want to put me against and so on, and on which card and whatever. But if I can choose, November, that would be good.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I mean, if they give you someone that's a good opponent, I'm sure you'll take it. It's just, we're sort of talking hypothetically here. Like, if they give you the call, if they call your management, you're ready to go, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. If the right fight presents itself, you got to take the opportunities.
There's a lot of action going on in your division. Sort of the latest news that we've heard is that Paulo Costa not going to be fighting Jared Cannonier anymore, and we're hearing that it's due to some pay issues. Apparently, Paulo saying he never signed the contract. Have you been following this? What do you make of Paulo, not getting this fight now and Kelvin Gastelum stepping in?
Yeah, that was a weird one. I don't think people saw that coming, and if they can't agree, then they can't agree, and somebody has to step in. And I never heard about it until Gastelum stepped in, and he's a veteran. He's a big name. Everybody wants to see him, and him and Cannonier hasn't fought before, so I think we're up for a great fight there.
Yeah, no, I'm really interested in that one. Do you think because of this, Paulo Costa's stock has kind of fall a bit because he was supposed to fight Whitaker, right? He couldn't get that fight, and then this fight falls through, and then he's coming off the loss to Adesanya. Like, do you think that the timing of this is pretty bad for him in his career?
Yeah, it's definitely not the perfect situation. Coming off the loss and now having issues with the UFC. But hopefully they can solve that. I think he's great dude to have in the division. He makes for exciting fights, and he's one of the top names. So I'm hoping we're not losing him now.
Were you ever offered to step in against Cannonier? I know you guys have fought, but I'm sure that's a fight you would have liked back as well.
Oh no, I was not offered.
They probably couldn't get a hold of you too. You were probably out in the fishing boat anyways, right? If they ever wanted you.
Probably.
Yeah, exactly. No reception out there. So there you go. What do you think of that fight between Kelvin and Jared? You fought Kelvin Gastelum. In fact, to this date, you've had the best win over him. You finished him in the first round. How do you see that fight between Kelvin and Cannonier playing out?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think they are pretty similar in style, actually. It's going to be interesting to see if Calvin incorporates his wrestling or not. Striking wise, it should be very interesting. I think there's going to be they're going to be pretty even on the feet actually. So looking forward to that one. I can see both of them pulling off a win. So very very hard fight to pick.
Very diplomatic answer, but if I had to give you some money, if I gave you like $500, who you putting your money on in that fight? Who do you think wins?
All right, I'm putting him on Gastelum.
Oh wow, okay, interesting. So picking Gastelum there because I would imagine he's going to be the underdog, but we'll see how the odds look here. Did you watch the Floyd Mayweather Logan Paul fight? Did you happen to catch that?
I did, yeah.
You did. What'd you think?
Not the greatest fight, you know. He survived. Creds for that, but he's so much bigger than Floyd. You know, it's hard to take anything from that fight.
Well, people are saying it's bad for boxing, but do you not think it's kind of its own thing? Like it's an exhibition bout. Like it wasn't really like a traditional boxing fight. Like to me, it's almost like pro wrestling in a way. Not that it was scripted, but that it's its own thing, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. You know, you have to take it for what it is. But of course, you know, if for fans that's not very, you know, deep into the sports, they kind of might think that's
good point. Yeah, that's true. Actually, the casual fans might be like, oh well, Logan Paul, you know, he did well against Floyd Mayweather. He can go in the UFC. You know what I mean? So that's you know, it screws things up. So I'm not sure about it, man. I prefer if it doesn't happen. It's more let's not do that. Yes, yeah, okay, fair enough. Have you been watching this season of The Ultimate Fighter, or have you kind of not seen it?
It's cool that you say that because I was watching it right before we called.
Oh, there you go. I read your mind. There you go.
Yeah, I'm on the first episode. Yeah,
that's good. What do you think so far?
It's looking good. You know, I'm looking forward to the season. So, you know, it's also always interesting to watch the middleweights as well, see if there's any up and coming talent coming into the division. So, and I love the Ultimate Fighter. It's a great series. So, looking forward to it.
Now, I think we talked about this before, but I want to bring it up again. So you were just in Sweden, you were saying, obviously that's where you're from originally. Do you follow any of the Swedish hockey players at all? Because the reason I bring this up is I'm a Vancouver Canucks fan, and we have the Sedin twins, Daniel and Henrik Sedin, are potentially joining the organization as like in a management role. But are they like, do you know of them? Because they're pretty famous. I know from talking to a few other Swedish fighters.
Yeah, I heard about them, but I'm not very into hockey these days. I watched some hockey when I was younger. You know, everybody in Sweden does, and you watch the World Cup, obviously, but I'm not very deep into the sports now, so I'm not very good at. If you have any hockey questions, I probably won't.
Yeah, no worries. Probably won't. Okay, well, I'll throw one more out to you. Have you heard of or do you know of Elias Pettersson? Have you heard of him before?
It doesn't come to my mind.
There you go. Just checking. Just got to make sure because he's like the star on the Vancouver Canucks. He's a Swedish player, and people think he's amazing. So I was just curious how popular he is. But if Jack Hermansson doesn't know who he is, then he's probably not as popular as I think. So there you go.
But yeah, you know the old school hockey players from when I was a kid. You know,
Matt Sundin. You probably know Matt Sundin, right?
Matt Sundin, Peter Forsberg. You know, guys like that. Definitely. Yeah.
There you go. More of an old school guy. Okay, before we go, we've got to talk some fishing. We talked about it off the top. What did you make of Gregor Gillespie talking about how he's the best fisher in MMA? How do you think you do against Gregor?
Man, I think that, to be 100% honest, I think we fish for different kind of fish. You know, we have, you know, we don't fish for the same fishes, but when it comes down to pure nerdiness, when it comes down to fishing, you know, I'm at another level than that guy. You know, nobody are even close to me. You know, I don't think people understand how much time I spend, not just fishing, but just planning fishing and reading about fishing. You know, and it's so many hours of my every day. You know, it's just like I'm obsessed with fishing. It's MMA and fishing are my two obsessions.
What did you make of Conor McGregor tweeting Gregor Gillespie that he's a better fisherman and he had the two fish instead of titles? You must have laughed at that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. It's cool that he's in this discussion, but let's be honest, he's not is not on the list.
Now, you guys have the same management. If Paradigm set up a fishing trip with you and McGregor, would you do that? Would you be open to that?
100%, 100%. You know, and yeah, it would be a bad trip for Conor for sure.
But you'd probably teach him some things, right? Because you've pretty much said it here that you're the better fisherman than him. So do you think there's a lot you could teach Conor? You know?
Yeah, for sure. You know, I have a lot to teach him when it comes to fishing. Definitely.
Jack, thanks so much for doing this. I know you got some quarantine time to relax and all that, so I appreciate you taking the time. Anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, I'll give you the last word.
Thank you, everybody who's watching, all of my fans. Make sure that you check out Jack the Joker MMA on the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for your time.